Mabuhay, everyone. This is Reverend Reg, and today is August 26, 2021, and it's 4:30 here in Manila, Philippines. Today, I'm so excited and I'm so grateful because I have my colleague, Reverend Debbi Walker, who's all the way in London and will share with us today healing from different levels of energy. And first, I want to highlight that she also worked as a registered nurse. And then she moved on to sound healing. And just to give you all a better understanding of what she does, she became a sound healing practitioner in 2010, training with Team Reader and used the vibrational frequencies to bring her back to her authentic self. When she heard the tones of the solfeggio tuning forks, she felt she had come home and something within her unlocked. She just knew these sounds, they were part of her makeup and her blueprint in life. She then used the sounds on herself for a number of weeks and felt clearer, more cleansed, and more balanced within and without. On October 10, 2010, she went into Stonehenge with a group of people with private access and standing between two of the stones, and she was guided she would take the sounds to the masses. She had her doubts. In fact, she took that quite a lot for her scientific left brain to get around. However, she had to say that being guided by something greater than herself that made her do this. And over the past years, she has researched diligently and worked with sacred sound frequency. She have found the science background of nursing paved the way to do extensive research on just how these amazing sounds can raise her internal frequency. Swara Sound Academy was born in 2011 and goes from strength to strength. Swara means sound healing in the Indonesian language, and she took the tuning fork sound therapy courses, retreats, and workshops nationally and internationally. She now has shared tuning fork sound therapy and named it the Om 528 solfeggio, cosmic and Egyptian, and many other frequencies, which literally thousands of people at fairs, festivals, and workshops. She has frequencies that are bespoke to Swara Sound Academy that have been channeled: the Stellar Gateway, Celestial Gate, Mermaid, and Dolphin, Isis Temple, and Sound of Nature, Ocean Soul, and Ancestor. So without further ado, let's welcome Reverend Debbi Walker with a round of applause.
Good morning, good morning. Oh, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are.
Yes, good afternoon. You know, Reverend Debbi, I just got goosebumps because we're doing the Harvest Convention on October 10, 2021. And then you had your initiation on October 10, 2010, which is exactly 11 years ago.
Yeah, there we go. There's that amazing auspicious date. 10-10-10 for me, and 10-10-21 for you, and for the Harvest Festival, bringing so many of us together with this greater desire to do more for people, planets, pets, etc., etc., etc.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that, Reverend Debbi. And you know, I really believe that everything is divinely orchestrated, just like you felt as a sound healer a couple of years ago when you were having your initiation in the Stonehenge. And it always felt like a magical place for me, as I am a big fan of Star Wars. And you know how Star Wars unfold, it makes you feel like you're on a mission. Every soul has a mission. And we're all gifted with spiritual qualities that can help us address whatever it is that we're dealing with in this lifetime. So
Yeah.
I am profoundly grateful to have you as a sound healing performer during the convention, and at the same time, your background as a registered nurse.
Yeah.
Please tell us more about it, because nursing is also a form of healing, although it's not really multidimensional. I'm sure that you're able to utilize it better because you're also now upgraded your capacity to heal, not just as a nurse, but also as a sound healer with a multidimensional background. Please tell us more about it.
Yeah, so I found that nursing was a wonderful career. I absolutely adored doing my nursing. What happened was there were so many patients and then not enough of us, of nurses, and I know that that is still going on today. And what happened was I got ME, so I got chronic fatigue syndrome. I burnt out, and I was kind of a shadow of my former self, in that I couldn't walk, I couldn't read, I couldn't write. It was like the life force energy had literally been stripped away from me. And I was retired out of the NHS on ill health grounds. And then I looked for things out there that would really assist me getting better. And I couldn't find anything at that point. And I really hit the dark night of my soul, where I didn't want to be here, living in this shell of what I was. And in that moment, when I hit that dark night, something, I call it my God moment, because something came in and filled me with the Holy Spirit, and everything from that moment started to change. So first of all, I found EFT, emotional freedom technique, which is the tapping. So we use that to shift energy and shift chi in the body. And it kind of made me well. But there was something that just didn't hadn't quite finished. And when I found the sound healing in 2010, something ignited. And I went and did a course with Tim Wheater, and we started using gongs and bowls and drums and flutes and all of that. And for me, it was the tuning forks that completely changed so much and ignited something really deep in my soul, like a remembering. And so I went off and I started to diligently research. So being a nurse, I could pull different research values from all over the place. And I started working with sound. And then on 10-10-10, I had this incredible experience in Stonehenge. And again, I call it a God moment, where I was like plugged in, the crown of my head was plugged in, and the sole of my feet were plugged into the earth. And there was just this toroidal flow of energy filling every single cell of my body. And I realized then that I'd reached a point where this was what I was being asked to take the sounds out to the masses. And even that terminology is not something I would ever use in my own speak. So off I gently traveled, because don't forget, I was still healing from the energy illness, if you like, dis-ease of ME. But using these three tuning forks, which I'll talk about in a little while, that completely redesigned, if you like, my energy levels, so that I released that which served me no longer. And then I came into my heart, my soul. Everything was clear, it was cleansed, and it was completely balanced. And even 11 years on, I still use these beautiful tools, because they are what we call delivery systems of a vibration. The same as a singing bowl, the same as a voice, the same as a drum, a bowl, a gong, anything. They are delivery systems of sacred vibrations. And obviously through the research that I've done, I've written this, which is a very, 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 very comprehensive big manual, which people get that on my course. And one day it might turn into a book, but at the moment, it's only for people that sign into training with me. But yes, that's 350 pages of of research and my own research as well. So other people, but also my own, which is actually yeah, it's wonderful. So that's a
Yeah.
tiny little, you know, of a
Yeah.
linear journey. So tiny bit.
I'm so grateful that you're actually doing the sound healing, and then the I'm not sure what you're going to use during the harvest convention, but I'm very excited in a way that someone who has 11 years of experience and has been initiated in a very auspicious time, 10, 10, 10. We know that nothing happens by accident.
Yeah.
And both of us, we believe in synchronicities. And it really gives me goosebumps because, like what you mentioned, there's no such thing for you, like, rationally, you couldn't make sense of it, that you felt that particular energetic attunement, but then we know that you're being called to something. And please tell us more about it, because this calling thing, I've been discussing this a lot with so many people, but of course, not everybody resonates with that kind of term. So please tell us more about your calling experience.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely call it a calling. So I got well and I started to do some shifts in nursing. In my heart and my soul was the necessity to share the sounds, to share the vibrations. But through obviously earth reasons, and I had to live, I had to bring in an income. I started to do my what we call bank shifts here in the UK. So I used to do some bank shifts in hospitals. But for me, the the call to share the sounds was so, I can't explain it. It was so strong. But my other brain was saying, well, you need to live and da, da, da. So I remember, and this is another moment, was I was doing a shift in nursing, and it was the 11th of September 2011. So yeah, so 11/9/11, and I was doing a shift and I was in the middle of a ward and it was nighttime and the lights were all dim, and I had my drug trolley, and there were six elderly patients in the beds, and I was giving out the medicine and looking at their drug charts. And I stood there, and it was as though this light came onto the drug trolley and myself. And I thought, what am I doing? What am I doing? Medicating people, when I know that if we bring sound, vibration, healing, love, respect, and listening to these people, we can make a big, big change. And I resolved in that moment that was the last shift that I would ever do. And so that was the last shift I ever did. So there were a lot of callings throughout the years, and they still happen now. They still are. Remember why you're doing this. Remember how you're doing this. Remember, this divine energy is so part of our inherent makeup, in our DNA. And all we have to do is quieten the mind, to hear that calling, to hear what the divine has in store for us.
Yes, I believe you, and thank you for sharing it that way, because I truly believe it. It doesn't make sense rationally, but you can intuitively feel it, and you also feel it in your gut, because that's how it came to me, in my gut and in my heart area. And honestly, it took time for my rational brain to cope with whatever it is that my gut and my heart were telling me, because I also practice Kundalini yoga. And one of the things that my teacher would always tell us, it wouldn't really make sense from the rational area, It may catch up with you in terms of rational explanation, but you will feel it in the gut, in the heart, that you're on the right path.
Yeah.
So, especially you talked about how it can massively help people. You had that epiphany, and then you also had that self introspection of asking yourself, what am I doing here in this hospital medicating people when in fact I know there's a better, higher way to help people heal themselves?
Yeah.
So please tell us more about it, because we know that for a lot of people, especially now worldwide, there's like a battle how people are supposed to get well and what method to use in terms of getting well and how best to address the global health issue right now. What do you suggest, Reverend Debbie? At least first, number one, to calm down, and next, to heal themselves.
Yeah. So, yeah, brilliant. So thank you for that invitation. The first thing that people can do is it's about quietening the mind. There is so much research to show how meditation and quiet times can actually, in that essence, heal the body. So, what there was a study done by Dr. Herbert Benson, who was a cardiologist in the United States, and what he showed was if you can relax for 25 to 30 minutes a day, you switch on healthy genes and you switch off unhealthy genes. It's called epigenetics. So what he showed was just by being quiet for 8 weeks, all of this changed within the inner mechanisms. Now, what I do understand, it's like people may be sort of saying, well, my mind is so busy. How do I quieten my mind? There are many things, and obviously sound is one of them. And I'm on here to talk about sound, so I should sort of talk about sound and how to quieten the mind. So this is a tuning fork, a delivery system of a vibration, and this is Om, 136.10 hertz. So I'm going to just play. I don't know if you can hear. Can you hear that through? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just a gentle tone, a soft tone that very quickly the mind. So we listen to it first of all. So the mind starts to be curious of what is this sound, what am I hearing, what am I listening to, and we're bringing it right into the ears, and we're like playing it all the way out to the end. So we're actually exercising our hearing skills. So when I train people, I find that they have better listening skills because they're listening, and then we strike again and we bring it to the other ear. Mm-hmm. And what we do is we alternate the ears. And very, very quickly, what we find is that the left logic and the right spiritual brain begin to balance. And everything starts to calm. Now, this is just by listening. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to bring the breath into it as well. So we take a breath all the way into the base of our belly and we hold at the top. And then just gently, gently release. If you're a visual person, you can also breathe in light. And then you're holding that light within you and your cells. And then you can breathe out light. So you have this beautiful flow. Breathing in light, the divine, into every single cell of your body. Still listening. And then breathing out that light into the world. And this is where we can start to make a change. The divine gives us love and light and peace and strength and courage. And then we bring that out into the world. Love and light and strength and peace and courage. And what you find is very quickly is everything begins to settle. And the mind begins to soften. And then what I know is that I am an instrument within the world, within the perspective of the world. And me, by being peaceful and of love, I can do my bit for humanity in whatever way I'm called to do. But the sound is the sounds for me on a daily basis is non-negotiable. You know, and if people don't have a tuning fork, go into nature. Go into nature and hear the birds or a babbling stream or the sea or the leaves on a tree. And if people live in busy cities, find a tiny little corner in a park somewhere and just be silent with sound and nature.
Amazing. Reverend Debbie, I want to ask, what about people who sing? Does it also have therapeutic effects if they're singing on their own?
100 million%. So if people say, oh, I can't sing. And I say to people, if you can hum, then you can sing. So let me, I'm going to go up an octave. So like, where am I feeling that in my body? Well, yes, there's an essence of it, but I'm now going to tone an R. Now, an R is the heart sound.
Mm-hmm.
Just one more. So now you're becoming a human instrument, and you'll feel that in different parts of your body known as chakras. So the chakras of our system, you know, the Eastern philosophy celebrate chakras, which are energy centers. And each energy center has a function, and also it relates to the organ. So when we work with sound, I'm bringing it in with the voice, even though you can outwardly hear it. I'm becoming a human sort of tuning inside. And then with the tuning forks, we're tuning the outside in.
Beautiful. And something that I'd like to ask Reverend Debbie, especially you did such a beautiful sound, is that something that can help make a person more harmonious in terms of relating to other people? Because one of the things that you mentioned earlier that resonated with me is that when you go through that sound healing with the tuning forks or quietly listening to nature, it has a way of softening the mind. Does it mean that your sharp thoughts that can be harmful to you or harmful to others, it can be dissolved and completely reversed to something that's more gentle and more harmonious within you, and also the way you radiate your energy outside of you?
Yeah, because we are vibrational beings. You know, every single part of us holds a vibration, energy, and frequency. the Tesla, so Nikola Tesla said back many years ago, to get the secrets of the universe, think energy, frequency, and vibration. Another great person, Einstein, he said, now this is a quote: energy cannot be created or destroyed, only changed from one form to another form. So I'll repeat that. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only changed from one form to another form. So when we sit in our vibrational essence and either feel the energy of nature, listening, bringing these sounds into our bodies, our cells, we cannot help but come back to where we were before life got in the way, perhaps, before those thought forms became maybe of a discordant vibration. And suddenly we begin to tune into this resonance. And the other physiological basis is that what happens is our sympathetic and our parasympathetic nervous systems, so this is actually fact, become more in tune. So your blood pressure drops, your pulse will decrease, your respiration, your breathing will soften. But the biggest thing is your mind becomes more gentle.
Exactly.
The mind becomes more gentle, and it's the focus. It's the focus on listening to the waves or the voice. So we know that sound can heal, and we know that the wrong sound can harm.
Exactly. And please talk more about it, Reverend Debbie, because we know that right now, especially with social media, it's supposed to make things more convenient for all of us. I really believe that social media is actually a neutral thing, but how you're going to fill in the content of your social media can affect the way the psychology of your mind and the vibration of your body works. Because if you follow a lot of people who are very positive, coherent, and feel that they're in a rhythmic flow with life, it feels so encouraging to follow them. And in fact, the reason why I invited you to our harvest convention is because I kept following your pages. I just felt, even if you were just on Facebook, I can genuinely connect to the energy of harmony and balance that you exude every day with your posts. And I feel so grateful because I can feel the vibration of blessing just by following you.
Thank you.
And I didn't even know that you had that 10-10-10 attunement many years ago. But I know in my heart, you know what, this is the best person to do the work that you're going to deliver for October 9 and 10. And now it's giving goosebumps all over my body because I just found out that you had that kind of attunement. So
Yeah.
please tell us more about it, Reverend Debbie, because I follow people in social media that exude that kind of balance and harmony because I also genuinely pray for it. I really pray every morning and before I go to sleep at night that God, please make me magnetic to the right people who can help me lift my energy up and help me raise my perspective in life in case I'm being unconsciously, hypnotized by what's happening around me that's very fearful and limited. So thank you for posting what you post every day because it really lifts me up. And I'm sure other people are also energy sensitive can feel it. So please tell us more about that phenomena because I believe what you said and um, what you just emphasized about what Albert Einstein said that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can change form. And at the same time, I believe it can also be amplified because that's what you're doing for us. You're amplifying that gentle energy in social media. Please tell us more about it. Why does it work that way? Because honestly, I just follow you and I feel uplifted and inspired.
Thank you. Thank you. Sometimes I think when we work with, because media, like it or not like it, it's part of our everyday life now. In the days we could go to fairs and festivals and shout from the rooftops what we loved, I travelled to different places, to different countries to spread the word of my work. Now it's all about spreading it sort of with the resources that we've got. What I would say to every single person though is offer discernment. Bring discernment into what you follow, into what you read, because reading also is words. When you're reading them, you're reading the words and the sounds in your mind, and that is then also coming into your body and your cells. So everything you read, you will feel. Then you will magnetize. This is so much more than the law of attraction, which was kind of highlighted back in the day. This is about the law of vibration, the law of creation. So we create our reality and we create our world. And how we create our world is by who we spend time with, what we read, what we feel. So I generally am very upbeat, and I share that, not for any other reason, but because I can. And social media is a great platform for me to just say, I'm having a really good day today. Let's have a good day together.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when I'm writing it, I'm speaking it. So then it starts to become form. Those words that I'm sort of putting on to the screen become a form. They hold an energy, vibration, and a frequency. So that is why I share what I share. And generally I share once a day. And sometimes I get really excited and I'll share a few times a day. And I say to people, you might want to unfollow me because I do post a lot on social media. It's like, I don't mind. I don't mind that. I do what I'm drawn to do, and I do what I'm guided to do. And I know that my life is divinely guided. And I know that because my mind, when I work with my sounds, I get this real sense of connection, a connection to God, to the Holy Spirit, to myself, my soul self. So I discern. So if I see something I don't want to see, I unfollow. And so I keep the essence of my tribe pure. Everybody has an opinion about something. And if it's not what resonates with me, then that is absolutely fine. And I honor that. And I just move along.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And, I'm so grateful every time I see your Facebook because just like you, I believe that social media is one of the most powerful ways to get energy out there, and not just any energy out there. Right now, I think as a metaphysical practitioner, it's more important to be more discerning about what we're actually sharing, especially there's already enough hate messages that's being posted in our social media feeds. So I want my social media page to be something that's uplifting, inspiring, and just refreshing, and something that can educate and liberate ourselves from whatever limitation that we feel at the moment.
Yeah.
So we know, Reverend Debbie, at least for me, every time I go into a sound healing experience, there's this mind altering feeling, and at the same time my heart feels more expanded. You know how sometimes you feel upset about someone or something that happened to you during the day, but when you genuinely practice that sound healing, and then like what you mentioned, practice taking deep breaths with it opens up your emotional intelligence, that whatever form of anger you felt towards something, someone, or upset about yourself, it helps you expand your heart in such a way that you're able to forgive the situation and to be able to release the situation. Why does that happen? Please share with us.
So one of the things I strongly believe is that no one can make us feel anything. It's a cause and effect. So if something comes in and brings a reaction into our bodies or our minds, it is something that is laying dormant within us and ourselves. So of course it all begins with us. It all begins with the one that I am. And when we take some time to allow that to come up and through our bodies, through sound, through meditation, and through quiet time. That's the key, quiet time. Owning that feeling, witnessing. I know this might sound a bit hippie to some people, but you own that feeling and then you witness that feeling within yourself. And it can never be directed at anybody else because it's yours. Letting that let the divine come in and transmute that back into love. The feeling of love is what will heal the planet. It is
Yes.
what will heal. Every single one of us is remembering love. Remember to love oneself first. And the divine will give you that assistance. Just ask.
Mhm.
Ask the divine. I wish for love. Bathe me in love. Give me love.
Yes, and such a beautiful, powerful statement to say, especially honestly, before getting into metaphysics and New Thought philosophy, I didn't really have that mindset of being able to ask that I be bathed in love. And we know that if you ask for it, you're definitely going to get it in such a way that it will also make you impervious to anything that's not loving and kind. And yes,
Sorry.
please expand more about it, Reverend Debbie, because this is a new topic for a lot of people from my Facebook friends and viewers.
Well, it has been showing that we do magnetize what we think in thought form. We said energy cannot be created or destroyed, only changed from one form to another form. And one of the easiest things is our thoughts. How do we change our thoughts? Well, first of all, like I said just now, it's calming the mind, because the mind that gibbers along at 1,000,000 miles an hour, self-sabotage. If you're self-sabotaging within, then the sabotage will also go without. And then the universe will give, because it wants to give you what you want, it will then revalidate every single discordant thought. Whereas when your thoughts become resonant, and you can notice that I'm speaking in terms of resonance and dissonance because it's tuning in or tuning out. When we have those thoughts, those mind thoughts, then the universe says, how can I assist? And by the universe, I mean whatever somebody's comfortable with, God, spirit, the divine love, source, whatever it is, the I am. It is that which is greater than us. This is the people that have these aha moments and epiphanies. And sometimes it can be in your darkest hour that you reach out and say, help me. If you remember, there was a film, and I don't know if you've watched it, called Eat, Pray, Love with Julia Roberts.
Yes. Yes.
And she is literally on her knees in her bathroom. And she said, help me. And she sat on her, in that dark night of her soul and said, help me. And her life went on, and she, tried all these different places. But what it is is within ourselves. We look outside the whole time, but the divine lives within us. As our kind of metaphysical studies also show us, the divine lives within us. So what we are within, we are without, and the divine is without. Because how would it be anything else? I think that kind of answered the question-ish.
Yeah, but I have a follow-up question to that, because you talked about resonance and dissonance, and we know that it also has a lot to do with the law of attraction. And what can you say about this, Reverend Debbie? When you are very sincere and exerting your effort for someone or something, but then it doesn't draw you the kind of response or reaction that you want from that someone or that particular event, why does that happen? Especially for someone who's really genuine about their effort. And you mentioned that the job of God, universe, higher power, whatever name you want to call it, is to curate for you and to take out what's not actually serving that particular intention. Please tell us more about it.
So my understanding about this is all about timing. We hear this the word divine timing. And if you look back on things that you were so passionate about and strength and showing and sharing, and it didn't happen, you look back and you say, okay, well, that was because something else came along that I was meant to be doing at that point or being at that point. So it's all about retrospective thinking. It's like, okay, so that didn't happen and I put all my energy into that. I wonder how, why, where, when that happened. Okay, what can I do to change that? What can I be to change that thinking and that mindset? But it's always about timing. So for instance, I can put something out on Facebook, an event or something like that, and it's like it's invisible. It's like nobody sees it. And I think, oh, so I don't know if Facebook is hiding it or whether it just is invisible. And nobody books and there's no interaction. So I don't take it personally. I just realize that my timing is out in the great grand scheme of the universe. And then I can put something out, wallop, it's filled within a day.
Amazing.
And I know that it's all about the timing.
Amazing. So what are you supposed to do to actually prevent yourself from posting it on social media because it's not the perfect timing? Because
You
for
don't
me, for
know.
example, exactly, because one of the things that came to mind, Reverend Deb, you know how we talk about in music or sound, things are coherent, everything is in rhythmic order. And in athletics, we say that no, you have to train day in and day out. Whether you're in your high vibration or you feel sloppy in the day, the moment you decide to exercise, the body will catch up with the action. So, is that also the same for your routine as a sound healer? Do you feel that sometimes you're not in your best coherent state, and then once you start practicing it, all of a sudden things actually feel more rhythmic and flowing for you? Please tell us
And
about your process.
it's actually a really good analogy that you used about the athlete. You know, what I see some people saying is, I've put it out there and I've asked for what I want, and I say, okay, what are you doing to meet it? What are you doing to assist in that coming to be? So as long as alongside the divine timing, we still have to put the human effort, the human take, if you like, into creating the reality. I'll give you an example again. So we live in Cornwall and we've got a really beautiful retreat centre here. Now, 6 years ago, I changed my views about, you know, what I wanted to do and how I wanted to take the academy. And I thought, okay, I want a retreat centre. We had no money to do it. And I thought, what would I need to do to create the retreat centre that I so desire? So I worked
Yes.
harder. I put on more courses, I worked harder, and I saved. And that was over a couple of years. But in my mind, I actually saw this house. So where we are, she's called Lady Polhilsa House. I saw this house and it was up for sale then. I thought that would be perfect. But I knew that, you know, in my mind, I said, oh, she's going to be sold. Well, when we were in the position to make a change, because I'd worked so hard, because I'd, you know, gone all the way I humanly could to make something happen, she was still available. She waited 3 years. Exactly. Wow. So she waited 3 years for me to almost get my act together financially as well, so that we could buy her. And then there came to a point where we had a house to sell and it wasn't selling. And now this is divine intervention, and I'll share. So we had done everything to get this house, to achieve this on all levels. And we got to that point where our house wasn't selling and we had to sell the house to buy this one. And then I said, I can't do it. I actually literally surrendered and I said, I can't do it. That's it. I give up. That was, and those words weren't in my vocabulary normally, but I just said, I've done it. I'm done. I've done everything I can possibly do. And now I'm handing it over to you. This is the divine I'm having a chat with. And you know what? I messaged the vendors and I said, I'm so sorry, we cannot buy your house because we're not in the position. We can't sell our house. And do you know what happened? They bought our house.
Oh,
So they bought our
amazing.
house so we could buy this house.
Wow.
Go figure. But you know what? We did every single thing in our mindset to make it happen. And then in December 2016, we moved in here.
Wow. You know, I just want to give you a round of applause because something that I want to share to our viewers, and it's very important because when the Secret movie came out, which I'm grateful that it came out, it had to explain it that way. But apparently, because it was about thinking about things, and people actually were stuck in the idea that they just have to think about it. But now you were just saying earlier, you have to do everything as far as you are concerned in your level of awareness, especially doing that human effort. Please talk about it because apparently this is something that has been misunderstood for some people, especially when this movie came out. A lot of people were thinking, I just have to think about it and then it's supposed to land on my lap. But here you are saying that I have done everything from my level of awareness before I decided to say I give up. Please talk about it.
Yeah. Do you know, I mean, there are times where you can manifest like that. You know, if that is how it's meant to be, you will think something. You know, we've all done this, haven't we? We've thought of somebody and they've rung, or we've thought of somebody and they've messaged you. You know, we've all done that kind of level of almost telepathy, as they call it. When we're looking for things that will feed our soul, you know, enrich our hearts, these are kind of maybe slightly bigger matters. So I know I watched The Secret as well, and there was a guy who had a house and he put it on his vision board. And then 5 years later, he was living in that house. But, you know, he worked hard. He wouldn't have just put that house on the vision board and thought, I'll get that house one day. And then he's just gone off and surfed in the beach for 5 years waiting for the house to come, he would have
Yeah.
actually gone off and started
Yeah.
to work for it. I mean, of course it happens that people manifest quickly, but when it's these big dreams, ideals, they have to have foundation.
Yes.
So it's like anything, having a deep, if an idea or a concept is built on sand, then the sea could come along and wash it away. Whereas if it's built from love and sweat and tears and, you know, everything that you can possibly do, working in alignment with your higher self, your purpose, and the divine love, you are building very, very, very deep foundations for this project or this concept or this ideal to work and to happen. So that is very exciting, that people, you know, do need to put the work in, but enjoy the journey. So there wasn't one moment in that journey of I need to work harder to achieve the retreat that I went, oh God, I've got to work harder to retreat. You know, there was no discordant feeling. I mean, in essence, I did actually, you know, probably work a bit too hard because I got quite tired. However, when we came here, I was able to rest more. You know,
Yes.
when we achieve, we can just sit back a little bit and just allow everything to come to be. It's not kind of going to the next thing and then the next thing. It's enjoying what our life achievements and our life path is.
Amazing. I'd like to ask Reverend Debbie, because people get into this concept that hard work has to be put in the situation in order for you to demonstrate your intention. But we both know that when you go through something like a sound healing, it activates the alignment of your different intelligences, your rational intelligence, your heart intelligence, and then your gut intelligence. And when all three are actually working coherently, then you wouldn't have to work as hard as you would have done if you didn't have the awareness that that was actually possible. Please,
Absolutely.
please tell us more about it, because it's also something that I'm trying to get across the audience, that you will work with more creativity and with less stress and strain. And I think it's so important to work with less stress and strain, because when you understand that you are a channel for that idea to flow, then it will also come from a place of, that feeling of generosity of spirit. So when you serve others in whatever way you are called to serve, in whatever job that you have, you're coming from a place of sincerity and joyfulness, because you know that you're just channeling something from the divine, and it's a lot easier for you to make things possible from your end, because you know that you are working in balance and harmony with the rest of the universe. And I can speak this way because this is what I have done and experienced when I went through my own sound healing sessions. I'm sure with your 11 years you have something in your hat that you can share with us.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned before, we have this chakra system. We also call them nadis. Ayurveda, we call them mama points. These are all systems that the Eastern philosophy recognize as energy centers, points within our body. The meridian system, these are all Eastern philosophy that allows us to realize that we are energy, vibration, and frequency. And every single chakra, nada point, there is an influence from life that comes into our esoteric body, as we call it. In the fork, with the tuning forks, what we do is we will harmonize the chakra points. So we bring the sound, and I'm tuning up my heart chakra. And even if I bring it here and I just literally hold that, I wish you could feel what I'm feeling right now, because I'm feeling this massive expanse of sound coming in to my chakra and then into my heart space, which is actually then allowing my heart to become in total alignment with my higher source, my higher being. I can also do that, like we say, by the voice, focusing in on the You can do it
Are
with
we
every chakra.
supposed are we supposed to touch the heart while we're
We
doing that
can, because
sound?
because our hands also have chakras on them, in them. That's when people do Reiki and they bring the energy of Reiki through their hands. So we have hand chakras. So should we do that for a minute? Should we just put our
Yeah.
hands on our heart?
All right.
In fact, let's put one on the belly, the sacral chakra, so the belly, just below the belly button, and one hand on the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just actually tone ah.
Ah.
And again. And just one more. Now, when you go into the sacral chakra, just allow any sound that really feels resonant for you to come through the voice, but then allow the energy to come out through the hand into the sacral chakra. It could be any sound and any tone. And just sit quietly for a moment. And just breathing this energy into the heart, into the sacral as a flow. And let that go down to the root, the knees and the feet. And come up through the solar plexus. We see the heart, the higher heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown, where it meets energetically the divine source, the I am presence. And then let that bathe you in love and in light, in peace. And take a breath. Just allow your being to come back in. Knowing that there has been an alignment within yourself. Your sound, your own soul sound. And there can be an exploration of voice around different parts of your body, putting your hand on the chakra points, on any other physical points that may be causing discomfort. You can hum. Or you can tone. Everything that you create and bring through is your own tone.
Wow.
And it matches you.
Mm-hmm. Wow, it's so beautiful. I feel so good and refreshed just by having this conversation with you. And I know it's going to be an awesome, awesome experience for everyone in October 9 and 10. And Reverend Debbie, we talked about how important this work is because we know that despite everyone's good intentions, if we're not harmonic with each other, despite our best intentions, we'll not be able to work as a team, especially now times are calling us to work together in unity and in balance and harmony because this is the reason why I always felt, sometimes the solutions are not always just within a country. Sometimes you find that soulful connection from a friend many miles away from you because you're better off working together, and you should just open up your heart to that possibility. So,
Yeah.
uh, please tell us more about it.
Well, this is what the world has given us. It's given us the understanding that we can actually we can create with others. We can become part of something so magnificent. And you know what? Everything starts with us. Everything starts within our own self, on our own soul. And when we have that, and when we bring ourselves into that, we can then bring the tribe. You know, there's a saying that your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah.
And it is quite a sort of hippie thing. Your vibe attracts your tribe. But, it's so true. I have a rule of thumb, and, what I say to myself is, would I invite this person or people around for a cup of tea? It's very British, I know. Would I invite them around for a cup of tea? And if the answer is yes, then my arms, and my heart is open.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we can build. We can build this, what you're doing with the convention is, so beautiful because you're bringing a group of people worldwide together. And, who'd have thought? I'm sitting in Cornwall in my little room, and you are in the Philippines in your room, and we're just talking about all this wonderful stuff. And hopefully people watching will be in different corners of the globe, and they will then really understand the message that you're trying to create with your perspective and your convention, and obviously what I'm trying to do with my sounds.
Yes.
Not trying, that's the wrong word, which I am doing with my sounds, and which you are doing with your convention. And what we're doing is we're meeting new souls, new people, new friendships, and creating the life that we can do and we can be.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that, Reverend Debbie. And you talked about sound working together globally, and I'm very grateful that my friends around the globe have actually said yes to this convention, and something that is a concern still for other people. And I understand why some people feel that they have to ask questions. Why are they paying for services like sound healing, energy healing? Well, number one, I know that other people are just number one curious because they're not used to this kind of services that they pay for. So this is the reason why the Harvest Convention that I'm putting together is talking about balancing people, planet, and profit. Because I know whatever is happening right now, it didn't just happen just because it's supposed to happen. there was an imbalance of all those three, of how the resources were being used. And what can you say about it? Because for me, for profit-oriented businesses, they need to have that profit so that they can support their commercial trade. But for non-profit organizations, especially for spiritual and humanitarian work, the reason why the profit there exists, or there is such a thing as energy exchange, is because you want to establish a certain culture, like what we're doing now. We're trying to elevate the awareness about sound healing and why this is important, so that we can pay attention not only with our physical bodies, but understand that we are a multidimensional being and we have multidimensional needs. And part of those multidimensional needs, we pay for services of healers like you and people like me who are also into the life coaching thing. What's your, how do you explain this to your clients? Because I have my own way of explaining it, but it's so nice for other viewers to understand why they pay for the value of what they get in services like this.
So the way I look at things is, first of all, I followed a calling, and I gave up what was a salaried job in nursing to follow this path. And it took many years before there was a tipping balance where I began to create what I would call a wage. Now, a lot of people say, why do you charge for your services? What I say is, what they are actually paying for is my time, for one thing. It's the time of teaching, of sharing, of doing the healings. And the other thing is they're paying for 12 years, or nearly 12 years of experience, and 35 years of experience in health and well-being, which of course I had then to pay someone to learn as well. So what we have is this flow of energy exchange. I don't call it money per se. It's an energy exchange of time, of skills, of mindset. And, you know, when I got well from doing the EFT, the emotional freedom technique, I paid for the course. That gave me so much more. When I did my sound healing course with Tim, I paid for the course. That gave me so much more. And until we live in a society or a universe where there is no need to buy anything, then, you know, people will, there will be an exchange of money. And what I say to people is, if people are working in the corporate sector, they wouldn't actually work for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, and you'll find that a lot of people that are on this path actually do offer a lot of discounted things that they offer as well.
Yes.
I think, you know, that's what we do. My course actually went online this year and last year, and I've carried a £200 discount both years, because I realized that, you know, people probably didn't have the funds that they would have had pre, you know, stay at home period.
Yeah.
So that's been, you know, a gift that I can do for others. But, I mean, one of the things I just wanted to bring everybody's attention to, though, is bring it back to the heart.
Yes.
Whatever you do, bring it back to the heart, and, you know, look at the extension of living with the heart to bring in the exchanges that you need and require and wish for.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Reverend Debbie. And, you know, here in the show, I always ask my guests, you've talked about so many things here today, and if there is one perspective that you would like us to take action on immediately, especially you talked about bringing it back to the heart, which is for me something that I truly resonate with. Is there something else that you would like us to take action on immediately? And please invite them to the Harvest Convention especially what they can experience with your performance.
Yeah, so what I'm going to be sharing at the convention is to really bring the alignment of the mind and the heart into complete unity. We're going to do that with sound, and we're going to do that some meditation. And what I will invite people to do before we all meet up in October is to maybe go out and sit in nature, or get a singing bowl or a tuning fork or something, and then just sit and listen. You can put your hand on your heart, and you can just allow the mind and the heart to become really good friends. And from that, the thoughts become more peaceful and of love, and your actions become more peaceful and of love. And then we extend that love and that peace out to the world and to the universe, and all that is going on with all the different countries at this time that are really struggling. If we have this thought form, energy cannot be created or destroyed, just change from one form to another form. We have this thought form. We can pray. We can really send our thoughts, our prayers to those places in the globe that are really struggling right now, and to people. Send those prayers to people that make the differences.
Yes.
And see them doing the right thing, the good thing from their heart. That's how we influence.
Amazing.
That's how we change perspective, which is what your convention is all about, is changing and appreciating perspective.
Thank you for sharing that, Reverend Debbi. And you know, I'm so grateful today. I feel so expanded in the heart, and especially I love that you just talked about making your mind and your heart good friends. That we don't have to actually compromise, but we can work in harmony from within us and be harmonic from within, so that we're in the space where we can exert human effort, but at the same time demonstrate our good with ease and grace. So thank you so much, Reverend Debbi. And if people want to work with you, where can they find you? What's the website to visit?
So my website is Suara, Suara, Suara Sound Healing. So that's my website, Suara Sound Healing.
.com.
.com. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I'm going to flash it in the screen now so people can see it. That's suarasoundhealing.com. If you all want to work with Reverend Debbi, the tickets for the Harvest Convention, it's $100 for the regular. I mean, it's for the early bird rate until August 30, and it's $189 for the actual rate or the regular rate. And I'm happy to share with everyone that we have 88 students who are attending from the public school. It's called the National Science High School in Tagaytay here in the Philippines. And honestly, for me, Reverend Debbi, it's so important for me to be able to share this to public school students, because I came from the province of the Philippines. I didn't know how to speak English fluently. But when I got exposed to conventions when I was growing up, I was able to develop social intelligence. And that's why now I developed the confidence to approach people like you. You know, if you're coming from a provincial background, it's not easy to just talk to people and socialize. So I want those children who are very promising, they're doing their best in school, to have that kind of advantage and be exposed to a global interaction. So thank you for sharing your gifts with us.
Wow, that's amazing. You have done so well. That's just so brilliant. I round of applause you now.
Thank you.
And thank you for
so
bringing
much.
the children, our future, you know, to know about sound and energy and healing and connection. This is just so important. So please, yes, I'm so thrilled to be part of it, and thank you for inviting me so much.
Yes, thank you so much. We feel so blessed to have you as well.
Okay.
So, mabuhay, Reverend Debbi. It's a Filipino word. It means live and go beyond existing, because I think for most healers who go through an awakening experience, we want to go beyond existing.
Indeed.
And so it
Thank you.
is.
You have an
Thank you so
amazing
much.
day. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. All right. So, nabuhay everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in here in Perspective. I'm so grateful. I feel so blessed. I chose the right person for the sound healing session for our convention. So, I trust that you'll get your ticket soon. If you buy your ticket, it's going to be a +1 for a public school student. So, I trust that you join us. There's going to be a pool of amazing performers and thought leaders. So I'm taking away another thing from Reverend Debbi today, which is, to go into quiet moments in the day where I can tune into nature. Maybe it's just the quiet sound of a tree leaf falling, things like that, that maybe we take it for granted, but it has so much value for our mind, body, spirit connection, and we can function at our optimum level all throughout the day. Mabuhay, everyone. Remember to choose one perspective that empowers you, because putting things in perspective shapes your reality. Mabuhay, everyone, and have fun. Thank you, by the way, Dr. Ro, for